Welcome back. We've got Ruel along with Vildrax. We're going to do speed runs through Dragon, Ice Golem, and in Fire Knight. This is the only run we're actually going to use Vildrax on. He works out really well in Dragon because he's got that leech to keep everybody alive on the A1. He does put up Hex, but honestly, Ruel is so powerful and so good, we don't need somebody else putting up Hex. Ruel can put up the Hex. He gets a 50% turn meter increase. We get increased accuracy before we try to apply the Hex. This is all with Ruel, his A3, and then he loops back around with that 50% turn meter increase, and he destroys the wave. We're bringing in Ruel as a SEER. Another option besides SEER to drop these waves so we can make fast and fun teams to get through stage 24 and 25 of these dungeons. Fire Knight was a bit of a challenge, pretty good run in there. Dragon was actually a really hard challenge because on waves, they've always got that one champion that has really high defense. The one champion that will stay alive when everybody else is so easily killed. And I think Raid Shadow Legends, the company, really needs to look at this. There's a big difference between 24 and 25. We've talked about this many times, but it's taken the fun, to me, out of the game. How many content creators do you see nowadays that give you videos on 24 and 25 that are different? That are different than the same thing that we've always done. Back in stage 20, we had content creators doing stage 20 videos all the time. And it wasn't that stage 20's extremely easy now for us, yes. But it was that we still found fun speed comps. We still found really cool comps. And now it's to where it's not hard. It just takes so much longer. And we can't find. SEER is the queen. You have a SEER, and that's what we see. All we see is SEER. And for Dragon, if you have a Trunda, we can use her A2 and drop the wave, especially with Mossbeard giving her more damage, or Bad Alcazar. Her A2 is really broken, and it will destroy the wave. We'll get to the boss in 18 seconds with Trunda on stage 24 of Dragon. But still, so there's Trunda, there's SEER, there's a few other nukers. There's a couple nukers we can play together to get to the boss. But I just don't feel like, I feel like they need to go in there and drop the defense. And this has been a serious thing for a really long time. And we thought empowerment was going to help us with this. That's why I'm saying this. We thought empowerment was going to come out. We thought that the new dupe system was really going to help us drop all these waves. Let's get into this really quick though. I do want to show you my Ruel stats quickly. He has 7,343 attack, 278 critical damage, 221 speed, and he's not empowered. He is not empowered at all. We're getting additional damage. Oh, you can see it from here. We're getting additional damage from our faction empowerment, 170 attack. But his attack is super high, isn't it? 7,300. No empowerments here. And he's going to do some damage. He's definitely going to do damage because we're going to put up the Hex. And when we have the Hex up, we're going to ignore some more defense. We're already doing more damage when Hex is there, 10%. Decrease the value of healing done as well. Here's the extra speed of the enemies gets lowered. This Ruel is a complete champion, like an amazing Hex-based champion that is self-sufficient to where we don't need this new bug to help us out. But we are going to do a run with the bug. Let me show you first. Let's start out with Ice Golem. I thought this run was really good. We're not bringing in Vildrax on this one. We're just showing Ruel and a speed team on stage 24 of Ice Golem. We've got a reset cooldown here. We've got our Ghostborn, so we won't get resisted with the decreased defense. And I really like this. I actually really like this team. I was surprised it did so well. Because it's easier to take down these people on these waves. There's no one there that has that. There's no Crimson Helm like you have in stage 24 of Dragon. There's not that other guy that's in stage 25 that has that insane defense that'll stick it to us to make it to where we can't do these speed farms with just all of these different DPS champions. Now, if you double up, like right now, and it's good that he died because we're going to solo it with our Poisoner. Whoever you want to bring in your Dark Kale or Bad Alcazar, whoever you have to be your Poisoner to finish this off, and you're done. Look at that. We're at 41 seconds. This is going to be a really fast run. And yes, if we didn't have Ruel, or if you had two really hard hitting AoE DPSers, you could do pretty much the same thing because we're doing this 4-man. But 4-man's really nice. If you have a Ruel that's really strong, or if you have two AoE DPSers that are really strong, it looks like it's not that bad on Ice Golem. But that really changes over in Dragon. With those really high defense ones, it really stops us from doing this kind of run. Fun runs. Runs with all sorts of different DPS champions. And since I know we did it with Ruel, we can do it with two other high-tier DPS champions that have good gear on them and get through here and do the same exact thing. But I thought this run was really fun. Now we're going to back it up and go back to the Dragon run with Vildrax. We'll bring him in here. We're also going to bring in Ninja to help us out to beat the dragon. Once we get there, we get our hex up. We're doing our mass amount of damage here. This is on stage 24, but they're still alive. We still needed some help here. So we've got Ninja to kind of back us up. Then we made sure that we staggered the reset, I think 2 rounds. And then they're still alive. Look at that. Crimson Helm is just there. She is there with so much defense. And on Fire Knight, the one with so much defense is actually the DPSer. It's Nethril. Nethril has so much defense in there. It's insane. So now that we're at the dragon, we come over here and we're going to help out with... We have to keep our ninja alive. He's the one that's really going to do a lot of damage. Ruel does do quite a bit of damage, but he's not strong enough to survive. I don't think. Yeah, see, he dies. He dies so quick. And he's got really good gear on him. But he just gets nuked. He gets nuked and falls over. We've got Ninja here for his A2 to get us through. And we're doing okay time. I mean, comparable to a SEER team, kind of. SEER team's around 40 seconds, whereas this one's going to be a little bit longer. Because with SEER, we don't even need as many components as we need for this team. So we can bring in other champions to help us beat the dragon much easier. So that wasn't a bad run. 1 minute, 6 seconds. But look, 37 seconds. Of course, you know that 37 seconds is with a SEER. And we're not trying to... We're trying to compete with SEER. Most definitely, we are actually trying to compete with SEER. We need other comps to have fun with. I want to see content creators come out with cool stuff all the time for stage 24 and 25. And I feel like since 24 and 25 came out, we haven't been able to see that. So we brought in Gerp Tuck to give us 20% additional damage. We brought in another DPSer. So this other DPSer that we're bringing in instead of Magnar could be somebody that can hit much harder than Magnar. He can take advantage of this increased attack, decreased defense that we're getting with Ghostborn. And with that increased attack, do much more damage than Magnar's doing right now, and then really help us out. Like if we had a Cydo, well, Cydo is bad faction for this, but if we had somebody like that that does really well on the boss as well as waves, this would be a much faster run. And actually, we don't even beat this run. I was testing Dragon 24 and 25 out for about 45 minutes of recorded footage, and it's fast. So I was spending a crazy amount of energy. Because when you go through these runs, you get here like this, or you don't do the wave exactly how you want. So I back out. And then I wanted to show you this because this is a good example of, with SEER, we don't need as many components, so you can always bring in somebody to take care of the dragon. Even though Ruel does insane amount of damage, and we don't need Vildrax. But Vildrax, oh, we're back to our Ice Golem. Let's skip forward to our Fire Knight team. Okay, so we beat this. Now we're going to go on to Fire Knight. We're going to change that team up a little bit because we need a lure. We need to drop the turn meter of the Fire Knight to make sure we don't, so we can beat it, right? We've always got to do that. Now, I did do a few Fire Knight runs. I even brought in Maulspear again to try to get more damage. All that damage that Maulspear does, and it wasn't working out. So I had to bring a different team. So right now I'm searching for another idea. That's what it's all about, testing out all these different ideas. And on this one, if I did have Saito, because Saito, like I mentioned earlier, he's magic affinity. And we've used Saito or even Herndig on this boss. And you can do a lot of damage with Saito on the Fire Knight 25. Like an insane amount of damage. So if I did gear him up and didn't bring in Magnar, I think Magnar is a better display because we're not bringing in more legendary champions. We're bringing in somebody that you might have access to along with Ruel. But you see how long it takes to take down that wave. We're not bringing in the bug. We don't need the bug. Ruel can do everything the bug does, but better. He gives us that increased accuracy, the hex, then we get everything else from him, so we don't need to waste our time with the bug. But we do need to get through these waves nicely, but their defense is so damn high that we need to bring in somebody that does insane amount of damage like Ruel is doing, and he's geared out to the teeth, and then we have to bring in somebody else besides Magnar that's even stronger than Magnar to really help us get through those waves. And still, I don't think I'd be able to drop and then drop it again. Maybe I could bring in a Trunda along with this and drop the waves right away and then go forward. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do because of the amount of defense they have. The HP isn't an issue at all. We can eat through HP very easily. It's the defense, the mitigation that's stopping us from us to be able to have fun and really use champions like this to have a good time. I'm sorry I'm going off on a rant about this, but I like to talk about this while it really makes me think when I'm trying to make a champion that hits this hard, and now with empowerment out, even if you empower champions, which we've done with the Biggin, it really makes me wonder why they wouldn't do something about it. And I'm sorry if this is bringing you down because you wanted to see Ruel do amazing things, and you're seeing that, but I really just ponder what their vision is for 24 and 25, and we've wondered that since it came out. And I really hope maybe somebody over there watches this and they're like, if we just lower their defense a bit, we can have some more fun. We can all do fun comps and fun teams. Let's go look over these champions I used. So right here we had Allure, we had Ghostborn, 1 minute and 50 seconds, not that bad. Rule's doing an amazing amount of damage. Sometimes with Prince Kymar, since we didn't drop that wave, I had to make sure Prince Kymar opens with his A1 and then does his A2, so his A3 would be saved till we get to wave 2, and then it would kind of fall in line there and be much quicker. And then we had to bring in more DPS. We had to have an Allure here to knock down the turn meter and keep it down, and she's extremely fast. She's like at 300 speed. Let's go back to Rule and check out some of the champions and what kind of gear I have on them and their masteries in case you want to make a Rule team, especially for that Ice Golem. I thought that Ice Golem team was really solid. No issues with that. It was very easy to take down the waves with him, and you will not fail. Those other teams that I just showed you for Dragon, or the Dragon one should be okay, but then the one for Fire Knight, I wouldn't play that one. I would definitely not try to, unless you can make it better, and I'm sure you guys can. So if you can make it better, let me know what you've got. Let me know what kind of speed teams you have for Rule. Let us know down below if you have some other really cool ones. Attack chest, attack boots. We've got critical damage here. As much attack as possible on the ring. Really high attack on the banner. And then masteries. Since we were bringing in Gerp Tuck sometimes, we wanted to get this mastery stoked for Fury to get that additional 12% damage. We are in Helm Smasher. So I guess really with Rule, if I wanted to, I could come down and get 20% additional critical damage because we want to be... Helm Smasher is great for everything, and it's really good for Arena. But if we want consistency and we're really close to dropping a wave, that's what I should have done. I should have gone to Flawless Execution for 20% additional critical damage, and any of those waves where champions were left with a sliver, this would have taken care of it. I should have done that. I'm sorry. We'll try it next time. We'll try some different comps. We'll try some different things, but I like getting this out because you guys have amazing ideas as well, so you might be able to put them down below and help us all out. That's Rule. That's what I've got on him. The bug is just normal stuff. I just had him to do the debuffs. That's all I cared about. He's level 50. He takes like 19 books, and my biggest complaint about Vildrax is that he is not irresistible. First off, they gave us a magic affinity where it does damage. If this did no damage, we could bring this in against any affinity. Since it does damage, we can weak hit and then we won't apply the debuff. If this was a no damage hit, all we'd have to do is accuracy against resistance, and we could use this guy anywhere along with Rule. But now since he does hit like this, we can't bring him in against Force Affinity because he's Magic Affinity. Otherwise, Dragon 25, I could have brought him in. If this didn't do damage, we would have still applied all the Hex debuffs, and then Rule would have been able to go right away. So it's really unfortunate that they did this, or they could have done it to where he does damage, but it's irresistible, and we wouldn't have to worry about accuracy. Still, I wouldn't be able to bring him into force, but at least then it's a little extra. Really, I just wish this had no damage component tied to it, and all it did was do the Hex. That's all we needed to do is Hex, and then we could bring him everywhere with Rule, but we're really limited since he's Magic and Rule is Spirit. And then so many books, and you have to put books to get this to 100%. I think it was like 19, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I don't think it's worth it. If there is somewhere out there where healing that we can steal, it will be fun. The leech will be fun. I don't know. You guys let me know if you found a way for this guy to be useful outside of Hex for Rule, which we don't even need. You can tell that we just don't even need it. That's it, everyone. All the other champions I pretty much showcased in all the other videos I've ever done. We've got Ghostborn with just gear to make sure that we get the speed up and the timing properly. He's not doing crazy amount of damage. He can if you want to build him that way. We have a couple of Prince Kymars. They're just fast and have accuracy. Nothing fancy on those guys. And I don't think Magnar has really good gear on him as well to do some damage. So if you want to bring a Magnar in, he is geared pretty decently well. We've got critical damage, HP, and then any kind of HP and critical damage we can get more HP. His total stats are 81,000, 210 speed, 100% chance to crit, and 241 critical damage. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you all in a video soon.